Hey guys, so if you haven't tried it yet, these Oriental Chinas that Zildjian makes are actually one of the more unique Chinas from all their various lines. But of course, the sound can vary quite a bit from size to size. So what we're going to do is we're going to do a little shootout, a little comparison today. I've got 3 different sizes of these Orientals. And we're just going to go through, talk about a little bit of the construction, about some specs on these cymbals, and then you're going to hear a ton of sound samples to hear how it's going to play in with your different drum beats. Okay, so let's start with the specs. Now, again, so Zildjian calls these the Oriental China Trash cymbals. That's a mouthful, and they're part of the FX line or effects line. Now, as I mentioned, I've got 3 sizes here. I got an 18-inch way off to my right. This is the size China that I usually play with, so it's what I'm usually used to. So these other 2 sizes are a little different for me. To the left of that is a 16-inch, and just off to my left here is this baby cute little 12-inch China cymbal. It's gonna be really interesting playing on this one. Now, even though the cymbals all have different sizes, the construction of them, of course, are all the same. So what do I mean by that? Well, as you can see, they all have a brilliant finish. That's what you would typically see on, say, in a custom. Now, the hammering on this outer part here is uniform. This is what you would see on, say, an A-style cymbal. But then once you get in past the lip, the hammering on the majority of the cymbal is random, right? Zildjian does not hand hammer any of their cymbals, but it's all machine hammered. But so it's either uniform or random, and so you have the K-style hammering for majority of this cymbal, but an A-style hammering near the lip. Now, the result of this is that the cymbals are supposed to be a bit more trashy than your typical A or A custom cymbals because of the K-style hammering. Now, if you're interested in knowing how that kind of relates to those other cymbals, I do have another video that compares the Oriental to an A high and to an A custom. You'll find a link to that in the description below. It should also be noted that these cymbals have a shorter sustain or faster decay, depending on your perspective. The sound dies out faster than other China cymbals, and as a result, Zildjian actually markets these cymbals as good for working as a stack setup. I've actually played around with these 2 as a stack. If you want to hear how that sounds, there'll be a link to that as well in the description. Now, for the sound samples, what you're going to hear is I'm going to start off with the cymbals right side up like this. I'm going to play on just various parts of the cymbal. So the bell and kind of different parts of the bow and to the edge. Then I'm going to flip them over, and then I'm going to play on some different parts with them upside down. And then once I go through all kind of the individual hits on the 3 cymbals, what we'll do is I will put one of them off to my right, which is where I normally have the China set up, and I'll play through some different drum beats, swapping between the different Chinas. One last note before we jump into that, for those interested in the recording setup, I'm going to be using Earthwork brand omnidirectional microphones for my overheads. Those are going to be going through an A Designs Pacifica preamp. In the computer, in the DAW, I'm not doing any EQ or compression on those tracks, just a little bit of phase and time correction. The other tracks, though, will have additional processing. Okay, so some first impressions that I had. I really like this 18. I've used this before. I have this and a custom that I love both of them. And actually, this is the size cymbals that I usually go with. I've tried using standalone 16-inch Chinas before, and I haven't really cared for them. So, yeah, I already like this from before. The 16 version of this versus the 18, and it's almost kind of weird that it sounded to me as if this was lower pitch than the 18. I don't know if that was just the weight, weight relative to the diameter, but that's just my first impression. Is it seemed like this was lower pitch than that. It just seemed a little weird to me. Now, this cute little 12-inch guy over here, obviously in the real world, I would not be using this in the same manner that I would be using an 18-inch China. But I could almost see if you were thinking of getting a 12-inch splash, this might be a good alternative to using a splash cymbal. I don't know if you guys had a favorite of the bunch. If so, let me know which one it was in the comments below. I, of course, have other videos coming out all the time. More gear review for drum stuff, recording tips for drums, lessons, all sorts of good stuff. So if you don't want to miss out, then don't forget to subscribe. Until next time, peace.